BGIS Indigenous Engagement Program. The recording is here because some people, this timeline conflicts with some folks. So I know our recordings people go back to as well. So All Rock, are you okay? Everyone here from All Rock?
Oh, sorry about that, guys. Can everyone hear me there and see me?
Yes, we can see you. Okay, yeah, you're good. So we'll get you geared up after wrap, and then and I will start opening up the presentation with a land acknowledgement. And I would like to, my name is Julie Matthews. I'm actually calling from Keswick, Ontario. And I would like to acknowledge my very close neighbors, the Chippewas of Georgina. They are the caretakers of these waters, Lake Simcoe and Georgina Island as well. I'd like to acknowledge the great BGIS Friendship Wampum Belt behind me. This is a beaded work that was commissioned by BGIS 2 years ago and was completed by a Dokis youth from Dokis First Nation. And he completed the work. It represents his two spirits, as well as the colors of the medicine wheel, representing different cultures within Canada working together towards reconciliation. So at this point, Vanessa, anything to add to that? Me being the non-Indigenous person usually does the land acknowledgement. So anything else, Vanessa?
No, that's great, Julie. Thank you.
Okay, and for those on the call, if you have any questions, please just interrupt. This is our opportunity to meet a few Indigenous providers and vendors, and is part of our engagement series, whether it be our Indigenous by Design or our Indigenous Marketplace. So over to Rap, and we look forward to the presentation.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Hi, so good afternoon. We appreciate you all taking the time to participate in the marketplace today. And we would like to acknowledge that our company operates on the traditional territory of the Robinson Superior Treaty, signed in 1850, and the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe people of Fort William First Nations. We further like to thank BGIS for giving us the opportunity to promote our company in this forum. My name is Julia Bragnello, and I'm the Business Development Coordinator for our company. I'm proud to introduce our ownership team, Ashley Johnson and Manish Agarwal.
Bonjour, Ashley Indigenous. And hello, my English name is Ashley Johnson, and I'm the owner of Rep BGIS. We're delighted to introduce Rep BGIS Security Inc., which stands for Rep North in Ojibwe. We chose this to be our name as we wanted to acknowledge my Indigenous roots and heritage. We are proud to say that we are a female and Indigenous owned organization that boasts over 40 years of security industry experience amongst our ownership team. Both of our owners are born and raised in the North and chose to continue to support our important region. Rep BGIS Security is a joint venture with Rep Security. Rep Security was established in 2013. And REP stands for Respected, Experienced, and Professional, which is the type of security services we aim to provide to a variety of sectors in the Northwestern Ontario region.
Hello, my name is Manish Agarwal, and I'm the president of Rep BGIS. From the start, our vision has been to be the leading provider of security solutions in Northwestern Ontario, offering our clients peace of mind through our exceptional customer service and professionalism. Further to that, our mission is to provide reliable, customized clients in Northwestern Ontario. We strive to exceed our clients' satisfaction and in order to build long-term relationships based on trust and respect. We'll accomplish this by delivering high-quality services and employing trained and experienced security professionals from the area.
So my Indigenous name is Red Copper Thunderbird. I was fortunate to take part in a naming ceremony with Elder Aaron Terrio, and he explained how he came up with the name, and it was due to a number of factors. I grew up off reserve, but I still worked on my reserve. I also, the Thunderbird I'm the type of person who takes care of people, And because I look white on the outside, I'm Anishinaabe on the inside. So as I stated, I grew up just outside of my home reserve, Pick River, in a small community called Karamat, Ontario, but I visited reserve regularly with my grandpa. I also continue to be connected to my home community, and I maintain those relationships by participating in powwows, fish derbies, baseball tournaments, and other events. I ended up starting my security career working in the provincial park close to Pick River as a park ranger, and there I received a variety of security-related training and learned how much I enjoyed that type of work. When I was 17, I moved to Thunder Bay to finish high school. It was very scary at first, leaving my friends and family in both communities. As a result of my personal experience and my time as a social worker, I understand firsthand the challenges faced by Indigenous youth and adults who have to leave their home communities for school or work. When in Thunder Bay, I applied for security company in Thunder Bay as a mystery shopper and loss prevention while I attended college and university. This is where I met my business partner, Manish Agarwal.
And for myself, I was actually born and raised in Thunder Bay, and I love this region, so I choose to continue to support this beautiful and unique area. I attended university here, taking business, specializing in human resources, and while doing that, I took a part-time job as a security guard. That was over 25 years ago now, and actually 20 of those 25 years has been me managing in this industry. And it was during the first part of this experience where I was working as an assistant manager for another regional security company, where I figured out there's a better way to do things with regards to customer service and professionalism. This is why at that time I decided to start my own company. And knowing the type of organization I wanted to start, Ashley was actually the first person I looked to recruit and poach from the other company. She was 17 when I hired her and 26 when I brought her on board. And since then, she's only matured and become more and more ambitious. So while working together, we actually noticed that there was a need in our region for a more culturally centered organization.
So the reason why we decided there needed to be another security company in an already flooded market is we thought that there needed to be one that actually supported Indigenous peoples, communities, and businesses. We wanted to foster partnerships and relations with the Indigenous communities that surround specific projects and support the people, create jobs for them that do not take them away from their families and home. I personally have faced racism even within my own community because of my appearance. And I also know through conversations with Manish, who is also a visible minority, has also experienced discrimination throughout his life. It is because of these personal experiences that we understand the need for a different kind of company. Other factors such as lack of education, stereotypes, addictions, and poverty are all reasons why the Indigenous community is misrepresented in the criminal justice system. Of course, much of this is due to the history of colonization, residential schools, and broken promises, which has led to intergenerational trauma. So we need to be an active ally in order to break this cycle.
So we have been working closely together, developing relationships with organizations such as Keepers of the Circle and Superior Strategies. These organizations will be able to assist us in providing culturally sensitive training and support in the communities, which would eliminate the need for community members to travel away from their home. However, we do realize that due to shortages of workers in the region, we would need to send additional staff from Thunder Bay to fill any gaps. We've been working on building connections with the Fort William First Nation and Pick River Reserves, and we're looking to collaborate with other Indigenous communities and businesses. We are excited to create long-lasting partnerships built on trust and respect. Our goal is to expand our current footprint from retail, site, and special event security and go into the mining sector, including exploration and work camps, as well as drill and construction sites.
So with regards to hiring a local or regional company, there are many positives to sourcing and supporting local companies that can have a positive impact in many areas. This includes increased flexibility and responsiveness from that regional company, improved quality and reliability. Community engagement and development helped strengthen the staff loyalty and staff satisfaction, increased economic growth due to reduced travel costs, also creating a unique and authentic brand identity, value local products and services. I know that's a huge thing when it comes to companies in Thunder Bay or consumers in Thunder Bay. And it's also a good way to make a difference in the local economy. So having said all that, we have experienced a number of challenges when it comes to achieving a footprint with our objectives. That first and foremost, as a new company, it's difficult to get the attention of potential clients who continue to use the same group of companies that they've been using for years. These companies may not be able to provide the service that they're looking for. However, I guess it's the devil you know. Furthermore, it's difficult to differentiate ourselves against companies who pass themselves off as an Indigenous company. And finally, it's impossible for us to compete against the large conglomerate security companies with the current scoring system used for most federal, provincial, and municipal government competitions. Almost immediately before the competition begins, we're precluded on the experience factor alone. These challenges have created a situation where, after many years in business, we still struggle to gain the attention of procurement departments.
So here are some of the services that we offer: uniform security, site setup, shutdown, mine security and safety, patrol services, and 24/7 security. More specifically, we have the ability to monitor and control access and egress to the site, conduct regular site inspections, train and educate staff and community members on the security and safety protocols, coordinate with local groups to ensure compliance and cooperation, and we want to ensure all staff work safely and efficiently.
So we are registered on the Indigenous Business Directory, and we are members of the Canadian Council for Aboriginal Business. In efforts to expose, educate, and introduce ourselves, we have attended and participated in the CENCAN Expo held here in Thunder Bay, the PDAC conference in Toronto, and the CIM convention in Vancouver. We are also very excited to announce the launch of our brand new website, www.repgiwaden.com. So we invite you to please visit our website, and if anything we have presented today resonates with you, we would love for you to reach out and contact us. We'd love to hear from you, as well as we are eager to develop those working relationships and partnerships.
Thank you very much.
So Miigwech for taking the time to listen to our presentation, and we can answer any questions you may have at this time.
And I'm going to raise my hand.
Okay.
I know I invited some of our property team from sort of responsible for Thunder Bay, etc. Now, as far as regionally, you're mostly focused in Thunder Bay and surrounding areas. Is that correct?
So we're based out of Thunder Bay. However, we have serviced Kenora, Sioux Lookout, Red Lake. On the other side, we've gone as far as White River. But we cover all of northwestern Ontario from the Manitoba border to Wawa on the other side, and everywhere north from there.
Sure. And Chantal, over to you. You have a question?
I do. So, Bonjour, Anin. My name is Chantal Doe. I'm the coordinator of Indigenous Relations for Ontario Region, PSPC. And one of the key things I wanted to ask, because it's something that comes up all the time when we're dealing with security or security agencies. And as you know, we do have a contract as far as security with the commissionaires. There are some things going on there, but there might be some movement availability, especially in the future. We actually have a GC co-working space opening up at Fort William First Nation. And so my brain is just sort of, churning some things about, what could there be, especially on reserve? On reserve is where we start to justify not going the normative colonial way. So this leads me to what my question is. do your employees have the minimum reliability security clearance? Because that is one hoop that, should you guys have that, or secret, that makes contracting security and being readily available, or sooner rather than later available, that's going to be a key component to securing any contracts when it relates to the physical security, let alone even other aspects as a contractor that would have to be in place.
So we have, if I was being completely honest with you, up until now, those additional clearances, just because we haven't been able to even begin being noticed when it comes to, or not even being noticed, sorry, being a part of those competitions. We haven't gotten into getting those additional clearances to work in some of those buildings. However, with exposure with something like this, we will be getting that process started. We're going to get some guidance from Julie and Vanessa as to what that process is and how to get ourselves cleared in order to work in those buildings. Up until now, like when it comes to a provincial or federal contract or RFP that comes out, we have not really had the ability to even bid on them, because a lot of those require a response where the successful company is providing services throughout all of Ontario or throughout all of Canada, like a passport office or something. So it hasn't been a situation where we could, or it would, sorry, not could, but if it would benefit us to get those clearances.
Okay, because there is the ability to get the security clearance without having that project in place. And I do also want to say, and this is something that I will be again churning and thinking about, sometimes getting that experience might be through those shorter term contracts as a site is going, and that allows us to contract under low dollar value, which is 25K in goods, 40K in services. So this is where maybe those are some of those stepping stones that help get that experience, help build that reputation, help build those connections with those departments. So thank you very much for sharing. I'm going to be churning the information that you have shared, and I'm grateful that you've joined us here today. Miigwech.
I appreciate that. And
Thank
yes,
you.
we would love to take those initial steps to kind of gain that footing. Like, foot in the door is a foot in the door, right? Whether it's a $5,000 contract or a
Yeah.
$200,000 contract.
Sorry, my grandfather had mentioned currently resides in Eagle Lake First Nation, and he was mentioning that for their powwows, for example, that they will they don't want in-house security because people just let people through with like things such as alcohol or drugs or whatever. So they really want their next powwow to be totally dry. So he had mentioned and reached out to me and mentioned that that would be a good example of getting our foot in the door as well, even though it's just something really small.
Yeah, and we have everyone here who can help you get your foot in the door. It's it takes a village to do this, literally, and getting the security clearances. And I see some people with their hands up who can help you through that process. Over to Wade. He has his hand up.
Yeah, actually, it's more of a question for Chantal. We developed an ambassador program. I believe Allison Spencer team did that. I'm wondering if there's a way that we could possibly co-develop an Indigenous ambassador program to train the Indigenous security team members for this type of environment. And if we have locations that are on community, that would make a lot of sense, test it there. I'm just curious if the client would be open to that kind of pilot project.
I can definitely bring it up because it is on reserve. The building is Fort William First Nation building. We're leasing it from them. But that is something, especially when they've got events or when there are different changes going on and the place needs to be secured. But I'm definitely going to be bringing that forward because on that one in particular, there might be opportunities. I don't know, but for sure. And we can connect and see what there is possible on other fronts as well.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. And Rocco, he's our security manager for Ontario. So over to you, Rocco.
Just let me get my camera going here, working from home. Hi, everyone. Thoroughly enjoyed your presentation. Thank you very much. And I know what a struggle it is to have a security company. I owned my own company for quite a while. I've been in the industry since I was about 19 years old, and I'm being 25 now. I got a couple more years under my belt. With regards to the security clearance, there are some ways of doing it, and it's not always going after the big contracts. We've got a number of, we have one right now, Indigenous service provider, that could probably get you as a subcontractor in order to get you your security license quicker. And, you know, if there's business that they can't cover up in your area, the business is going to go to you. So that's something that we may want to look at going down the line. For a number of government agencies that will know, all of the departments will know that you have your clearance. If you get into the buy and sell, and once you're in there, you're good to go for being just directly procured. And you know, once you do one thing for one department, and you know, you just keep spreading out from there. So there's lots of opportunity for you. The third thing was really a question: does Tommy Chong and Cheech Marin actually work for you?
That was actually the very first event we ever did, was that one, and they were actually very nice guys. That was our first picture with the first event that we ever did, and it was backstage. We got to hang out with them. It was hilarious. Yeah, no, that was good.
And that's all I had.
No, thank you.
So for you, just to follow up with Vanessa, who will coordinate, she'll reach out to me if she needs any assistance, but really getting you that first opportunity. Chantal talked about PSPC. So we have a lot of key people who could help get your foot in the door, whether it be sponsorship directly for that specific building, whether it be working with a subcontract, another Indigenous subcontractor. What we notice is if we can connect Indigenous subcontractors together, it's better for both of you. So especially if one is further along in their journey than you are, and then you'll just grow from that. So that's one thing we will do. So lots outstanding to come out of this great meeting. And at this point, if there's no more questions for Rep, we'll take it to All Rock.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great. All Rock, go ahead. Over to you. Do you want to share?
Sure, yeah, I'll share my screen there. Everyone see that there?
Yep, perfect. You're all good to go.
Perfect. Well, hello everyone, and great job, Ashley, Manish, and Julia. It's great to see that another successful Indigenous business. It seems like you guys are doing great work and great presentation. So yeah, hello everyone. My name is Scott Allen. I'm the president and founder of All Rock Consulting. We're a Indigenous engineering firm with offices in Toronto, Ottawa, London, and in Newfoundland and Labrador. So I'll just take you through a few slides here. So just to talk about myself a little bit, I'm from Corner Brook, Newfoundland, born and raised, and I'm a member of the Heligu Mi'kmaq First Nations Band on the west coast of Newfoundland. We're made up of 67 traditional Newfoundland Mi'kmaq communities, and we're the second largest band by membership in Canada. My background is in these three things: geotechnical engineering, which is basically the study of soil and rock, and you know, designing it for bridges, highways, stuff like that. Materials engineering, which is, you know, testing and inspection of materials for the construction industry. And then environmental engineering, which is, you know, some buzzwords. If you recognize the phase 1s or phase 2 environmental assessments, that's what we do, and that's what my background is in. So I used to work in Fort McMurray in the oil sands and with Stantec, doing these things and working in these fields. And in 2018, just to talk about the origin of All Rock a little bit, I moved back to Corner Brook, took out nice loan from the bank and bought some equipment. And actually, Stantec had closed their doors in Cornbrook, so I rehired the employees and I started mapping out a plan. And there was my plan on the right there back in 2018 on how I was going to start a successful business. So
we have a question already. We have.
Sure.
Oh,
go ahead.
Alain. I'm sure I guess what Alain's going to talk about. Alain, go ahead.
Hey, Scott. My name is Alain Chaput. I'm Vice President for BGIS, and I'm overseeing our oil and gas business. I just heard you work in the sand in probably Fort McMac and those area. What kind of services you could provide within the oil and gas industry as a consulting firm, either from a retail or either also from a soil and grounds and stuff like that?
Yeah. So basically, those, if you go back there, so these are the three services then when I was working in Fort McMurray that I would provide basically with the company I was working with. So basically, geotech engineering. So that's kind of, for oil refinery, anytime you're doing civil construction, you need a geotech investigation. We would handle that. And then same with the materials engineering, anytime you're doing construction and you do, concrete testing, soil testing and stuff like that, we have field and laboratory technicians. And then on the environmental side of things, we do soil sampling and risk assessments and stuff like that.
And what area of the country you can cover? Is it coast to coast, or do you have a specific area?
So it depends on our service. If it's geotechnical engineering, we've worked all over the country. But whereas the materials engineering and testing requires more of a physical footprint, we a local laboratory and local technicians, then we have to we service across Ontario and Newfoundland and Labrador.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Appreciate it. I'm sure we're going to connect separately after this presentation.
For sure. Thanks, Alain. Okay, awesome. So we'll keep going there. So I started back in 2018 and started mapping out a plan of how to start a successful business. And in 2018 we launched and I started offering those services in our first laboratory in Corner Brook, Newfoundland, and we started offering our services on civil construction projects for building contractors, building owners, other engineering firms, and multiple levels of government. And our first big project was the Corner Brook Acute Care Hospital for PCL. So obviously PCL, a very big name in Canadian construction, and just lucky enough, we managed to secure that contract right away. Provide, it was a big project. Their contract was $750 million, and we were a subcontractor to them doing the services I mentioned earlier. So that was a great way to kick off our our start to the business. And then, we started gaining traction fairly quickly. The three kind of pillars of our services is relation-based customer service, where, working for bigger firms in the past, I found that, traditional sales isn't really, picking up the phone and calling someone doesn't really work. You need to build a relationship with people and really, show them that you're good. You have good, honest people working for you. And then obviously another pillar is having those good and honest people working for you and making sure you're treating them with respect and treating them fairly. And then it comes down to it being a professional engineering service. We wanted to provide quality work and make sure that our reports could be relied on. So we also joined the Canadian Council for Aboriginal Businesses and became a certified Aboriginal business. And then as well, we wanted to make sure safety was at the forefront of everything we do. So we were recognized with the core certification just to really show that. And then so flash forward to today, we're across Ontario and in Newfoundland and Labrador, like I said, Toronto, Ottawa, London, and Corner Brook, St. John's, and Gander. We have our services are everything that I mentioned earlier, except we've also added building sciences, which is, I'm sure relevant to you folks, but building condition assessments, vibration analysis, noise analysis, air quality, work, and then obviously, like I said, above the other three. And our accomplishments to date, we've worked with some, we've got 50 employees, and we've worked with some large clients, Vale, Rio Tinto, some of the biggest mining companies in the world, Aecon and PCL, some of the biggest construction companies in Canada, and then obviously City of Toronto and the federal government we're pretty proud of. So yeah, we've managed to build an impressive portfolio for ourselves in terms of clients. And this year, we're happy to announce we doubled revenue from 2023 to just last year of 2022. And in 2024, we're going to be opening up a structural engineering department based out of our Ottawa location, but able to service locations across Canada with that department, which I figured I'd mention because that's probably very relevant to a lot of you.
Yes, we haven't. Oh, sorry to interrupt. We haven't.
Sorry.
Oh, Redmilla, did you still have a question or?
No, I just, it's a very impressive. Thank you so much. I was interested actually in this building science that consulting. So would you provide reporting, or what type of analysis would you complete? And if this is something that you've worked before, and if you can tell me a little bit more about that.
Sure. Yeah. So we call it kind of building sciences as an envelope of services, but the main one would probably be the building condition assessment. So we have a number of staff on site that are on our sites and in our offices that are certified to conduct building condition assessments, which is, very often procured when someone's purchasing a property or selling a property. They'll want to get that in conjunction with the phase 1 and phase 2 analysis, and basically it just talks about the useful life of the property and everything in it. And then, like I said, we do some other stuff: vibration monitoring, noise monitoring, and even some more kind of third-party testing and inspection services that are often required through the maintenance and construction of buildings.
Perfect. That's great. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Julie, so I'm just wondering if we have, if you're going to open your consulting firm in Ottawa, or you still have it, so would you be able to provide these services like a BCR, like a building condition report?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We have an office in Ottawa on Colonnade Road, and we're currently providing that service along with environmental and all our other services out of that office. So yeah, we'd definitely be interested in that.
Yeah, especially Redmilla. I'm thinking of all the projects. So Redmilla is on our project team. So, having a participant like her at this meeting kind of helps us understand what those services could be. So Redmilla, if you need Scott's contact information, please just let us know. I can provide that to you.
Perfect. That would be great. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Keep going, Scott.
Thank you very much. Yeah, no worries. No worries. I appreciate you guys stopping me, because sometimes I go a million miles per hour. So that's great. So yeah, like I said, we're proud of our accomplishments, and we've grown to 50 employees and still have some large goals. But one thing I wanted to mention is that while we are growing, we want to make sure that our employees can maintain a strong connection with the land. I make sure that we often have nature outings and make sure even if something as simple as going for hikes after work with each other and going walking in the park at lunch hours and stuff like that. And we also make sure we want to maintain a strong connection with community. We often engage with the Indigenous communities wherever we are, especially the Mi'kmaq First Nation back home in Corner Brook, and also a strong connection with our families. We want to really make sure that a work-life balance is really prioritized within our organization, and we while we're growing, we want to make sure we stay connected with these aspects of life. And I just wanted to talk about our Indigenous roots a little bit. So obviously growing a firm across Canada, you're coming across multiple Indigenous or hundreds of Indigenous communities. And so I'm proud to say that 3 out of the 5 of our members of the All Rock Senior Executive Team are from Indigenous heritage. And we have working in our company right now peoples from the Halibu, Duwamish, and Millbrook First Nations. Anytime, you know, we are working, well, anytime at all we're hiring or looking for other opportunities, we want to make sure that we're trying to hire Indigenous peoples wherever possible. You know, educating Indigenous peoples within our organization to try and, you know, prioritize them and advance them and advance their knowledge. And then, you know, whenever we have a project, for example, if we're working in Eastern Newfoundland, I'll give you an example. Recently, we're trying to work with the Miapikek First Nations in Eastern Newfoundland to, you know, provide partnership opportunities wherever possible. And then some Indigenous challenges that Rep mentioned there and Manish mentioned. So we're very heavily construction based, and I find there can be a stigma in the construction industry when it comes to working with Indigenous peoples. Maybe, you know, not to summarize it too much, but basically just maybe Indigenous businesses don't have as much knowledge as you would, you know, if you're working with a big conglomerate engineering firm like Stantec or someone like that. So there's definitely still a stigma in the construction industry, kind of an old boys club, if you will. And then also sourcing qualified Indigenous talent, especially in engineering, where we are trying to, you know, find as many Indigenous peoples as we can, but that can be a challenge, you know, different job boards and stuff like that. So what we've kind of tried to do is take a little bit more trained as engineers, you know, get them in the ground level of our business and you know, try and do internal training to get more people, you know, educated and involved in engineering. And then lastly, access to resources. This was a bit more of a challenge when I initially started my business, as I'm sure Ashley and Manish can attest to. But, you know, that's all, you know, most Indigenous businesses across Canada kind of get their start in small communities, and sometimes in small communities, it can be tough to have access to resources, you know, just even something as simple as there's not as many financial institutions to work with in those areas. So yeah, so some unique challenges, but there's also that raises some opportunities and some responsibilities as Indigenous business owners. Obviously, in our position, you know, we're an environmental engineering firm. We want to, you know, that's something, one department we're actively trying to grow to show, you know, we still have a connection to the environment and are still stewards of our communities and environment. And then we also, like I mentioned earlier, have a social responsibility to, as Indigenous business owners, to try and, you know, hire and empower Indigenous peoples wherever possible. But, you know, it's those are responsibilities, but I think it puts us in a unique position. And just lastly, our goals I wanted to share with you. So we've got some pretty ambitious goals with our senior executive team, is that we want to have 500 engineering, technical, and professional staff by 2030. It's a very hairy, audacious goal, but we think we can do it. And we want to be delivering engineering and construction and consulting projects across Canada, and become the largest Indigenous-owned engineering firm in North America. And then lastly, and most importantly, provide employment benefits and opportunities to hundreds of Indigenous peoples across Canada, and education especially is something that's high up on our mandate. So that's all I had.
Thank you. Great presentation. By the way, 50% of our work is in Ottawa, so that's why like you said, like literally 50% of our work is in Ottawa, and that's where the large, big, major projects are. Okay. And we call those major projects. So they're over $1 million and can be in the billions, right? So wow. Yeah. So, you know, one thing is a takeaway is we would like to introduce you to the team at Place du Portage. You can Google it. It's in Gatineau, and it's a major refit program. Okay. It's Ellis Dawn who's doing it, but you would be subcontracting, and they have a participation rate, Indigenous participation rate so we're just making introduction. It doesn't count to our Indigenous spend, it's part of theirs, but we want to make those introductions as well. So sometimes it's not the direct route, it's the indirect route that we get you the business, but there's also a lot of we have our Atlantic team here is thinking Katie Robertson, think of anything on the environmental side as well. When it's recorded, I'll be sharing this. It'll be posted to YouTube. Feel free to share with your own clients as well. It will be open to the public as well. So any questions for Scott? I know we got a couple during the presentation. Any other questions? Nope. Okay, well, I'm going to give everybody a quick update on BGIS Indigenous Engagement Program because I haven't done one for a while. Somebody said that to me the other day, and I went, "We've been doing the marketplace, but not the other stuff." So I'm just going to get squared up. And if anybody has any other questions, please don't hesitate to ask them or interrupt me. For those, if the contact information I have not put in the chat is not correct, please just go ahead and add it yourself. This is very much a self-help. Just going to get it.
Thank you, everyone.
Go ahead. Sorry, Scott. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say thank you, everyone, for the opportunity. I was just going to turn off my mic now.
Okay, thanks. And I am going to share. You should be able to see my screen. So just a quick update for everyone on our Indigenous engagement. Vendors, please stay. You can stay. This is all, we're open, fair, and transparent. And just a quick update. I did the land acknowledgement. I won't continue. Just a reminder, everybody, we have our 5 pillars of our 2 Paths program. And when we're talking about Indigenous engagement, we really want to focus on those 5 pillars. And I will go through some of those pillars and what we're doing with them. So pillar 1 is our transformative leadership. We are chasing PAR certification. So we're looking at getting this done. We have Vanessa, Trey, as well, and Chris and Wade working on this, and a lot of us helping support that so that we have the certification. So what does this really provide? It shows BGIS's commitment. This is not for the RP1 account, it's for BGIS corporate as a company. So we're working on several documents under the leadership of Lori Rowlandson, as well as Trey, Vanessa, Chris, and Wade as well. So we are working diligently to get this PAR certification completed. Under the recruitment, retention, and advancement of Indigenous talent, about a year and a half ago, we signed an agreement with Working Warriors. Now it's called Indigenous Connections. It's Indigenous female-owned, and it shows all of the positions BGI has available online. So I don't know if it's there, but if you go to Indigenous Connections, look for BGIS on the side and filter for BGIS, you will see all of our positions posted there on Indigenous Connections. Our goal is to reach those Indigenous communities. Like, who is BGIS? A facility management company? What does that mean? But we manage billions on behalf of our clients, a huge opportunity for career growth in either project management or facility management. So just a great opportunity. We also have our Indigenous Link virtual fair. This is about a year old. Again, you can go to Career Fair Indigenous Link and look for BGIS as well. And we have a little information as well as a link to our career pages as well. On the business and economic development side, Wade, Vanessa, and Chris have been extremely busy, and you can see some of the posts that Vanessa has done. We were at CCAB on the West Coast, we were at ARPIC, and Chantal, I don't know if you're still on. One of the things we want to work on with ARPIC is to have more Indigenous representation. Wade is going to work with ARPIC. He was just there for with ARPIC on the Ottawa community event on last Friday. So we're working towards getting Indigenous representation at these events and much more. So that's something we're working towards. We did the Aboriginal Futures Program. We're working with PSBC and Procurement Assistance Canada on doing vendor workshops as well. We've held several of them. We were at Ford Summit as well as Workforce Afford as well in Ontario and out west. So we continue to travel across Canada and do lots of engagements Wade, go ahead. I see your hand up.
Just gonna add a couple other things. I know we talk a lot, but there's a couple other things I want to. We got Chantel's on the call. Keep her kind of in the fold too. Is with regards to Forward Summit, we're also a part of the advisory committee now for the East. We have a chance to help shape what's going to take place at the Aurelia event this year. And then we're deeply connected now with NACA in Ottawa for the national opportunities in the NCR. We're actually meeting with them on Thursday to discuss how we can indigenize procurement within the NCR. Next.
So even though BGIS wants to bring on vendors, we're going to use our connections, our money, our spend, our influence as much as we can to get Indigenous vendors and relationships built within community, with other companies as well. So this is not just BGIS, it's the expanded BGIS family, I like to think about. So for us, Wade, myself, Vanessa, and Chris, we are focused on the Government of Canada, but many people on the call today are outside of that as well. So we also launched our BGIS Two Paths website, and the link is here as well. I will put that in the chat as well. So if you want to see more about BGIS, what we're doing, we have a quarterly newsletter. We're constantly rethinking how we engage with our team members, how we engage with our clients, how we engage with community. We're always looking for improvement around that. And as well, our next session is in January, and I think it's 19th, and I'm going off the top of my head. Chantal is going to be presenting on the PSBC GC Workplace Indigenous Design Standards, very important for us to follow when we're working on PSBC projects, as well as we will have a knowledge keeper there as well.
It's January 18th.
Thank you. It's 18th, thank you. It was going off the top of my mind. I don't have it open, but I just wanted to give everybody an update. Chantal?
Oh, I just wanted to say, so the Indigenous Design Guidelines is applicable to all government spaces. So not just PSBC, all government spaces have to. It's a mandatory implementation as part of Fit Up guidelines. So it's right up there with accessibility, greening. It is a mandatory component, which speaks to engaging in the hiring equitably of Indigenous community members, artists, firms, engineering, whatever it is that the construction or retrofit project needs, it really does guide them to that. So I just want to clarify, like, it's all GOC, which means like it's many, many more projects.
Thank you, and I have to keep being reminded, and it's such a wonderful document. It's my go-to document when I'm working on a project, by the way, that includes Indigenous design. And you know, we support it in whichever way we can. If you go to our website, it includes a link to it as well. I only have it in English now, but there's lots of links in our website to those documents to help support Indigenous engagement. Again, everyone, thank you very much. Miigwech, does anybody else have any questions? No? Any closing remarks, Wade, Vanessa?
I just thank the vendors for sharing. I think this is an incredible opportunity for us to learn from them in their own words, and for them taking the time out of their day to help share that information with us. So thank you very much, and for you guys for putting this together.
Thank you. Wade always reminds me, 1,000 cups of tea. This was just one cup of tea to get to know you. And
yeah, and myself too. I just want to say Miigwech to Ashley, Manish, Julia, and Scott for joining us and sharing with us today. Very, very great presentations.
And if you need to bug us, please don't be shy. Bug us. We're here. We're trying to create these pathways for everyone to make it easier. Sometimes it can be challenging, but sometimes a little poke doesn't hurt. So don't hesitate to reach out to us as well. If you're not getting what you think you should be getting and the traction you should be getting, just let us know, okay? We're trying to work and please many people, and sometimes we just, the squeaky wheel gets the oil, so let us know, okay? At this point, we'll wrap up. Okay, so thank you. You put the design guidelines, thank you, Chantal, on the chat as well. Okay. And a very great document. I've read it back to forth many times because I've been working on Indigenous participation plans for projects. So it's my go-to document. So everyone, thank you very much. And we'll be speaking to you on January, and it'll be Indigenous by Design series. And we look forward to that. Thank you, everyone. Miigwech.
Thank you.